Hello and welcome to the Necromancer Crypt, and welcome to Jimmy Dingleberry. Hail.
Hail, how's it going? Oh, hang on, gotta adjust my. Okay, yep, we're fine.
Great. And tonight we are reviewing Picard, Season 3, Episode 7, Dominion. Oh, look at that lens flare. You can tell that it's Turdsman Drek. All right, so here we have Dominion.
Okay.
Not much happening in this episode, honestly. A little more development. Some more interesting, I would have to say the most interesting part was, once again, Data. And his,
are we doing spoilers?
His problems with lore. Well, if you're going to listen in, don't listen. You don't want spoilers. Go and watch the episode.
Well, would you say it's worth watching for those who haven't seen it yet? Should they give it a go, or should they not bother?
I would say it's certainly worth watching. Yes, it's worth watching. Are there some things we disagree with in terms of what Trek should be? A couple of things, but really not too much. Was it an amazing episode of Trek? No. It was an action episode of Trek. Fine.
Look, I think I'm with you. It wasn't as exciting as last week's episode. It wasn't as fulfilling as last week's episode. Not as much fan service as last week's episode. This was like, you know what? It's like peaks and valleys. We just hit you with a huge peak, and so now we're going to calm down a little bit. And that's what this episode feels like to me.
Yeah. A lot of running around and shooting.
Yeah, so I would watch it, but don't expect to be blown away. It'll move the story along, so it's worth watching for that in and of itself.
And with that, our video is over. Oh, well, no, we'll review it a bit more.
Let's get into specifics.
A little bit more.
If you want to go now, go ahead. Just hit the like button first.
Yes, really, there's not that much more to talk about the episode. I mean, we'll do it more in depth, but honestly, the only thing I would have much to contribute to is really the parts with Data.
Because go ahead. Talk about
it is running through corridors and shooting. That's all it is. You have a little bit of flirtation, a bit more flirtation between LaForge's daughter and Picard's son.
Oh, that's Picard. Hang on.
So there you are.
Where are we going? We're looking for Data. I can't find Data. He's there somewhere.
He's in there.
He's in the room.
There he is.
There he is.
So presumably Data is the red part and Lore is the blue part, because it's supposed to be a lot more of Data than Lore, unless Red is the bad guy.
Yeah. He'll show up sooner or later.
Tell.
There he is.
There he is. Look at that. An old android who's got a spare tire around his belly now.
He lives well, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Data lives well. Good way of bringing back Data, saying, yes, he's aged now.
Yeah.
Okay. But, kudos to Brent Spiner. Really good acting chops. Fantastic the way he switches between Data and Lore. The drop of a hat. And quite well done. And Lore, great personality that he's developed over the years for Lore. Yeah. We thought we saw the last of him when he was destroyed with, I think it was probably, no, it was after Borg.
Nemesis?
After Hugh. No, it was during, it was probably a cliffhanger. I think it was the season 6 cliffhanger. Possibly, where we had the bizarre Borg ship that had protuberances on the side, and you had Borg that got angry because Lore was working with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At any rate, not bad to see Lore come back. Sure.
Yeah. A few things I didn't really understand in this episode. I thought, okay, so here we are. We are in a space scrapyard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there matter energy conversion technology in this universe?
Let me correct you. No, you're not wrong.
Oh, okay. So why would you have a scrapyard?
Precisely.
Makes no sense to have a scrapyard if you have matter energy conversion. You would just take the matter and turn it back into energy.
Yeah, they did have a scrapyard in the original series, in fact.
I would have said the same thing.
good episode. We should have said the same thing at that time too.
Yeah. Well, we weren't doing reviews on YouTube. I don't think they had a YouTube, did they?
No. Oh my gosh, no, not at that time.
Hey, when we run out of stuff to talk about, we should go on and review all the original episodes. Holy cow.
Absolutely.
We'll have content for years. Let's talk about my favorite actor in this entire series. No, not her. We'll get there. There she is. Oh, Jerry Ryan.
She didn't have much to do though this episode, did she? At the
really
beginning,
didn't.
it was a nice scene with rooting out the Dominion replacement of Tuvok.
Don't say rooting. Do you know what rooting means in Australia?
No.
Well, it's akin to intercourse.
Oh, okay. Well,
it is intercourse.
all right. So then, what was she doing? Uncovering.
Yep. No, rooting out is fine. It's we probably have mostly North American audience anyway. So yeah, wow, jeez, I tell you. And the uniforms, interesting. Why did you bother changing uniforms? Because what? Now you're on the outs with Starfleet. Is that why?
So now you're wearing all black to show how non-Starfleet you are, but you're still wearing the Starfleet emblem.
I did hear that the first two seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation, that it's a very good thing that there is no such thing as smell-o-vision. Because I heard that the uniforms after the first 2 or 3 weeks started to reek. Just
if you've ever
stank.
If you've ever looked at actual costumes for shows, for actors to put on, oh yes, those costumes reek like hell because nobody cleans them. I guess if you clean them, they don't look as good, right? And it's too expensive to have them dry cleaned, I suppose. I don't know, but oh my God, did they reek horribly? Wow, you want me to put that on?
No, thank you. So yeah, I thought this was pretty cool how she kind of calls Tuvok out on his BS, and I like how they played a little bit of back and forth with it. I thought that was pretty cool. How you're not sure, Calto, you are sure. I thought it was a nice touch. Again, there's the writers are more clever on this show than they have been in the past.
Other shows are certainly. I made a comment to my wife. Wow, Tuvok seems to have aged much more than Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it? He's supposed to be a freaking Vulcan. I think he's 147 in Voyager or somewhere around there, and is somewhere between 120, 140. That's just off the top of my head. I don't quite remember. But if you look that young then, 20 years is not going to make this much difference.
Shouldn't make this much difference if you're a Vulcan.
Nope. And so they missed that. They missed that opportunity to color his hair. Maybe he refused, or maybe they just didn't have enough money. Well, we know what's happening with Trek moving forward. I mean, Secret Hideout has the contract until 2026. This is hearsay. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Secret Hideout, they never lost their contract. There were some people like Doomcock and Midnight's Edge were saying, "Oh, this is it. This is the end of Star Trek. If this doesn't go well, then that's the end. They're going to lose." But they had their contract till 2026, the end of 2026 anyway. So no contract has been extended.
Laughing, isn't he?
Yeah, and so now they've made some announcements. But I mean, Kathleen Kennedy has announced a number of Star Wars projects that didn't go ahead. I think it was 9 Star Wars projects that didn't go ahead for the 3 films she made. So let's be honest. They can announce all they want. How many times have we heard about Star Trek 4, Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto's Star Trek? How many times have we heard about that being released and that being announced, and it hasn't gone ahead? So they're talking about a Starfleet Academy series, and they're talking about what is it?
More Discrepancy.
What's not more Discrepancy? Well, yes, it will be. On
there's
that
supposed
par.
to be some kind of Discrepancy par type level garbage.
I mean, it doesn't make sense
again.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. What will be going on at Starfleet Academy that has more bearing on the universe or the galaxy?
Yeah. Well, that film, or I think it was originally a film that was planned after or somewhere around Star Trek 5, Star Trek 6, somewhere around there, because the original crew was getting really expensive to put into films.
Right.
And they were thinking, well, let's just get a bunch of young actors and say, okay, that's Kirk when he was in Starfleet Academy. which I believe they eventually took that idea and converted it into Interplay's game, Starfleet Academy. Fantastic game. I picked it up when it first came out, had it sent to me in Japan. Had the expansion sent to me in Japan a year later. Pretty pricey, but yeah, not bad for its time. And the back in those days, the video games had actual video cutscenes, not machinima, because it wasn't good enough yet. So the video cutscenes could have been an episode of Starfleet Academy with guest instructor James T. Kirk, with instructor Pavel Chekhov, with the school headmaster Hikaru Sulu. So yeah, those three had come back for this game. To do 20 minutes of video each, or more like 5 minutes for the other guys, 5 to 10, not very much, but enough for us to say, wow, not bad.
Cool.
So if they're taking that idea and trying to develop it because they're plumb out of ideas, not surprising. Really, all you have to do is approach Strange New Worlds with respect to the original series. Without respect, we reject.
Yeah, do a redesign of the interior of the Enterprise while you're at it, because holy cow, I don't believe that's the Enterprise at all. It looks like, you might as well be
using your Discovery sets, then no, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
That really doesn't work. Okay.
Buy some plywood and paint it like they did in the 1960s, because it bloody well worked for them.
Certainly,
if it's too expensive, you don't have any money. That's it.
That's all you have to do. Go and rent the original Bridge set. I believe that's they do that for enough fan movies.
Yeah, Vic Mignogna.
So, really, it's not that hard to figure out.
No.
They could do so much better with Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Nice little mystery here.
Yeah, characters that have their story. Characters that have their story move forward. So Data really has a story move forward in this episode, and Vadic has her story move forward in this episode. I'd say that's about it for character development. Yeah. So go ahead. What did you want to say about this?
I thought her story was okay. This is a bizarre creature, a little bit intriguing. So I'm somewhat curious to figure out what that is, which apparently is a master over the shapeshifters now.
Yeah.
Just as the shapeshifters were masters over the whatever those warriors were.
Oh, Wayun was.
Wayun was an intermediary, and then you had the drug dependent aliens, whatever they were. Doesn't matter, because I wasn't all that crazy about Deep Space Nine, though I did watch the series
the Jem'Hadar
years ago. Jem'Hadar, that's right.
That's right.
So whatever this species is apparently has some sort of mastery over these changelings.
Post-virus changeling, maybe.
Who knows?
Post-virus changeling, post-war changeling.
Of course, the question on everybody's mind is what has happened to Odo.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
see a picture.
Yeah, unfortunately, René Auberjonois, the actor who had played him, has died. So I don't know how you're going to handle Odo.
Good question.
With the new actor, I don't know.
Has he signed his visage away? That's a good question. A lot of actors do that now.
Hopefully, it's not going to be Jack Crusher who's actually Odo.
I wonder. Speaking of Jack Crusher, hey, he gets a little bit of story development, as does Sydney here, with a little budding kind of romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's about it.
Lady.
Oh, yes. Oh, my. She's a handsome woman. No doubt about it. There's another handsome woman. Let's take another picture.
Oh, yes. I was actually rather hopeful that Captain Jackass was killed, but he's still alive.
Nope. Still there, wearing a leather jacket now, make him look badass. That's about it. That's about it. That's what's going on there. And then you're not wrong. A lot of running and gunning, a lot of shooting, and they capture Vadic at one point, but it turns out she turns the tables on them.
Yeah, and she can escape two old people shooting at her at point blank range quite easily. Wow.
Well, she gets hit, so it's a lot of inconsistency.
Yeah,
She gets
she's
hit
got
like
very good plot armor.
Yeah, well, exactly. But we find out where she comes from. And so it turns out that this was a Section 31 thing, and she was being experimented on by, let's see if we can get there. She was being experimented
by only one doctor with no
Yeah.
security backup.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's Section 31, so they don't really.
here's
need
the
it.
same problem that we
Oh.
had with poor writing in Mandalorian, where we
Yeah.
had Apollo Creed on his planet without any security backup and
Yeah.
without arming any of the of
Here it
his
is.
villagers. Here we have the same kind of poor writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in Section 31 or whatever it was in the Daystrom Institute with only one doctor experimenting on her with no security measures in case any of the changelings got out.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's the doctor. There she is.
Sure.
And of course, it's still Amanda Plummer.
Yeah.
As it should be. And that's funny, eh? She took the shape of her tormentor.
Mm-hmm. Which is nice. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. Kind of explains her mental state a little bit. And I think Amanda Plummer plays crazy really well.
Oh, yeah. She always has. Yeah. She always has been able to.
Let's do some honorable mentions of stuff she was in where she's played crazy really well.
I've got one. Absolutely loved her in So I Married an Axe-Murderer.
Oh, wasn't she good?
Oh, she was hilarious. She was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious with the very underspoken, very soft. Would you like some bacon and eggs and toast for breakfast? We don't have any of that. Here's Fruit Loops. It was hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course,
and
Honey Bunny.
Excellent as Honey Bunny in Quentin Tarantino's
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
Oh God,
she was fantastic. Yeah.
Wasn't she? Now I'm going to call back something that will bring back memories for you. You remember Eric Stoltz as the Angel?
In one of those
Prophecy,
ridiculous religious movies. Oh yeah.
Oh, but it was
mythology movies. Yeah. The Prophecy, I kind of liked it because it took the mythology and ran with it. Why not?
Yeah.
I just don't recall her role in the Prophecy.
You don't remember? Okay. So I'll remind you. So Chris, oh God, what's his name? Got to have more cowbell. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He
was supposed to be Gabriel.
Yes. So the Archangel Gabriel has a power whereby, as you die, he can bring you back to life and turn you into a living dead servant. Right. And he has one of the end, but the thing is, you're dead and you continue to rot.
So he did that to her, and she played the sadness so well.
Gosh, wasn't it amazing?
So well.
Yeah, just masterful. And that's something you'd never know that because the movie is old and it wasn't a box office smash or anything like that, but really fantastic acting chops, right, from Amanda in that one
to do that. Yeah, well, the daughter of Christopher Plummer.
Yeah,
that's a really good actor there too. So
yeah. So what are the stakes? What really happens here? I'd say the next big plot point that happens is when Jack and Sydney are fighting these two shapeshifters in the hall, and they're separating. Lore is separating everybody by shields, right? He's separating everybody by shields. And if this were Star Trek Discovery here, Sydney would get up and take this 250-pound guy and smash him against the wall, and it would knock him out. But they're actually playing it well, where that doesn't happen. She is not able to physically overpower this thing, and the only way she's able to win is through avoidance strategy, using her speed because she's smaller, and then using a weapon. And a weapon, I always say, is the great equalizer. And they do that because Jack can look from afar and see the entire situation. Often when you're fighting, if you're fighting a good fighter, they won't telegraph what they're doing, and it's difficult to see what they're doing because you tend to be rather close to them. If you're further away, you can see the action a bit better, or at least you can see the big picture of what's going on. And Jack seems to be, he seems to have some sort of sixth sense when it comes to combat, which we saw in that episode. I think it was episode 4, where the red vines kind
Well,
of.
they did lean into this, saying that he can apparently process faster than the regular human, let's say, which is apparently what Vulcans should be able to do as well,
Yeah.
or possibly not. Maybe Vulcans can simply do it with more precision.
Yeah.
And to deeper detail. Who knows? But different animals have different processing speeds.
Yeah.
So
in
birds,
any event, go on.
let's say that birds experience the world much slower than we do.
Yes.
So what takes 1 second event for us as something falls, for a bird might appear to the bird as 5 seconds would appear to us.
Yeah.
And the bird can react much faster than we can, because they're living in a world where that event takes 5 seconds for them. It takes the same amount of time, but it seems like 5 seconds would seem to us. Perhaps that's what's going on with Jack and Sydney here. Maybe Jack can do that.
Yeah.
Let's say that's what he can do.
And when it comes to the telepathy, it was almost suspension of disbelief breaking. But then I thought, well, hang on, we've got the Beta Zeds. Deanna Troi is an empath.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've used telepathy in Star Trek before.
I'll let this original series. Yeah. So why not?
Now you're gonna have to refresh my memory as to what happens at the end, because I don't bloody remember.
Let's see.
How does this episode end? Hang on. There's Sharon.
She takes over this ship.
Oh, that's right.
Who's free? Picard and Beverly are free. Sydney and Jack are, I think, free. Maybe Jack comes to surrender in the bridge. I'm not sure. I honestly, that's how unmemorable it is. And I just saw it the other night. So, yeah. I don't think I'm getting early Alzheimer's yet, but yeah, I really don't remember what happened to Jack, because that's how unremarkable it was.
Yeah.
Is it an okay episode? Yes. Do I need to see it again? No, I don't need to see this again.
Yeah, a bit slow.
I've seen
it's one of the valleys, but even for being one of the valleys, it's worth watching.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting scene for Amanda Plummer. Talking about the cruelty of problems that happen in war. It seemed a little bit trite. She's angry about having been experimented on. Well, too bad. You attacked first. She makes some excuse about, oh, well, you came into our area in the Delta Quadrant, and you were there. Well, too bad. You came through with a bunch of warships. So whatever happened to you, you asked for it. Yeah. And personally, I would not have given you a cure for the virus. You're the enemy. Too bad. You're too dangerous to keep going. You get wiped out. Boom. You've got Odo to make a new race of you. So we'll give Odo the cure. And any other shapeshifters he meets who he judges should survive.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of when you look at Deep Space Nine and what was going on with the Dominion War, it really is a very racist type of view. And that term is thrown around so much nowadays that it's almost lost its meaning. But having said that, the shapeshifters, they were racist against all solids. Often they would talk about solids. Oh, you're a solid, therefore you behave this way. Well, it's not really. That's, I think, the point that Star Trek was trying to make at that point. Star Trek Deep Space Nine. No, not all solids are this way. Odo knows us as we really are.
They didn't want to listen to Odo, and they are extremely dangerous. You had one Jem'Hadar destroying a Galaxy-class cruiser? So sorry, but that's why you earn the virus. That's why. It's not like it's a war that can be fought with, on equal footing. No, you're too powerful. You're overpowering. Yeah. So sorry, but for that reason, you get taken out.
Yeah.
That's
anyway. So, what did you think overall this episode? How would you rate it?
I would have to say a good 8 out of 10 because it was decent enough action. A couple of good story points, nothing insulting, nothing without respect we reject, quite honestly, that I could think of. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for that reason, for those reasons. But not an episode to rewatch because it's simply not interesting enough.
Hmm.
Not
I've
like the
got
last
one.
episode.
Yeah. I've
Last
got one
episode
nitpick.
was. There we are. What did you not like?
So my nitpick was, well, the first was the frickin' Jerry Ryan, hang on. There we go. So my first nitpick was the bloody here's a nitpick. So out falls this guy, and then here's Jerry Ryan.
Oh,
She
yeah.
turns around.
Yeah, she's going to turn
Oh, there's
her
nobody
back.
there. Okay, I'll just turn around.
Okay.
There's my nitpick.
Very ridiculous.
What the hell?
That's true.
And then where do these fools come from?
Were the other two that were aiming their phasers into the turbo lift? Did they suddenly forget?
That's
so
right.
Yes, poor writing once again.
Yeah. So
Why?
that
To advance the plot that needs to happen. No, don't do that.
You're
good
talking
writing.
you're talking about Jerry Ryan, man. She is a strategic genius.
Yeah.
She wouldn't let this happen.
Yeah.
7 of 9 doesn't let this happen.
We have a few strategic geniuses in Star Trek.
Yeah.
James T. Kirk, 7 of 9, who's very strategic in reflecting her Borg heritage, which is what made them such a frightening enemy when they first appeared.
Yeah.
Because they were so strategic. And the other one was supposed to be William Riker. But it turns out that, okay, well, let's make Picard more tactician too. Well, no, Picard was supposed to be the diplomat and the shining hope of the Federation. Riker was supposed to be the tactical genius.
Yeah.
So,
So
those are the tactical geniuses for me.
That nitpick, and of course the nitpick of the shipyard. Those are my two nitpicks for the episode. Other than that, happy to sit and enjoy this episode when it came out. And again, I don't think it's worth rewatching. I've seen everything I need to see in here. I give it 7.5.
Certainly, I would say, watch it one time. Absolutely, watch it one time. But I'm sure you're going to say, well, I don't need to watch it again. I've seen it. Even if you are a teenager. Teenagers love to watch things over and over, so it's not a dig at teenagers. It's just your nature.
Yeah.
So as you get older, you don't really think of watching stuff over and over again.
No, you know what? I did notice that, and I did notice, I think in my late 20s, I started to really be able to predict what was going to be happening in TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Really be able to predict what was going on in movies. If they show you a character doing a certain thing, you think, oh, they showed me that for a reason. That's going to, later on, it becomes more predictable the more you enjoy this stuff.
Yeah.
And then it kind of diminishes your enjoyment a little bit, but you do get that little satisfying dopamine hit when it turns out that your predictions were correct. And I think that subversion of expectations was maybe trying to stir things up a bit, but it just went the wrong way, didn't it?
It depends on how they handle it. So there's one type of way where you say, oh yeah, the butler did it. Oh, the butler did it. Oh, the butler so did it. Oh my God, it was the maid. Oh, that's one thing, right? This is just stupid. The stuff that they're pulling is so trite. It's just stupid. Especially the penultimate example of that was the last Jerk-Off film. That was just stupid. 1/3 of the way into the film, you knew that every scene was going to employ this technique, and it did.
Yeah.
That in its own made it a crappy movie that was a bunch of garbage. That in its own. Never mind all the other stuff. So, all of the superficial flaws of that film were entirely overshadowed by the fundamental flaws. Or we could say it the other way around too, even, honestly. The fundamental flaws of that film were entirely overrun by the superficial flaws. Wow. What utter garbage it was.
Okay, so shall we wrap this one up?
Yep. that's it. We've given our rating. Watch it one time. You won't need to watch it more than that. And with that, we look forward to the next episode of Picard with a lot more hope. And certainly for the series finale as it eventually shows up. And aside from that, we can say, live long and prosper.
Okay, all the best. Thanks for having me in the crypt.
Right then. Take care.
Later.
See you again.